Greetings, friends, and welcome to the woods. Today, I want to talk about, let's not use the word discernment, let's use the word finding truth. Because right now, a lot of us are finding that quite challenging. We're getting all sorts of facts from all different directions, some of it fabricated, some of it truthful, and it's getting very difficult, especially with all the technology that can give an appearance of something to our eyes that it's not true. Now, mind you, we have always been subjected to falsifications. We have always had authorities misdirect us. In some cases, wildly in the wrong direction. We have had the truth hidden from us for so very long that we're living in a field of lies, a field of distortion that doesn't really reflect who we are, where we came from, and where we're going. You can't decide where you're going unless you know who you are and where you came from, at least who you are. Now, that you have some control over. So, how to see through that? Let me walk you through the steps as clear as I can explain it, because we've talked about this before and I've tried to explain, but for those who need it spelled out in as clear manner as possible and who would appreciate being given a couple methods to know whether or not the progress you're making or the steps you've taken, the things that you're doing actually work. Let me break it down some more. Now, to start with, you have to know who you are, or you're not going to be able to sense distortion. And one of the clearest methods of defining your own space, who you are, is to get away from the noise, to get away from the distraction, the constant input you're getting from your screens, whether it's in a box in your room or whether it's this way. Get away from that. Go to a silent space. A lot of us do well out in nature, as you see here. Go someplace where you can hear yourself think, your own thoughts, your own feelings, away from others. Don't bring somebody with you, because then you're going to get who you are as a relationship to who they are. There's going to be an influence. You need to find out who you are in isolation. You need to get away from all of that and get into your core. Who are you? You you don't have to define yourself by the role you play, somebody's daughter, somebody's mother, somebody's employee, somebody's church member, you don't need that. You just need a sense of, what does your energy feel like? When all of that drops away and it's just you and your soul, what does that feel like? It might be an emotion, a sense. And to understand what I'm talking about, have you ever had an experience where you thought about somebody? You can kind of feel the difference. When they're in a room, the room feels different. You feel different. You have a sense of them being there. That's them on a soul level, that energy. And you have that feeling, and then they call or they contact you, they text you, they connected with you. You know what that feels like. Now do it for yourself. What do you feel like? What is your energy when you're completely isolated from every other influence? What does that feel like? And then invite your intuition to tell you how to strengthen that, how to make it more, how to make it stronger. Now, I can tell you one of the biggest things that makes it difficult for us to discern truth is if we don't have that sense, because that sense is going to allow you to connect with source. with the connection you have to the divine energy that moves through you every day and brings you vitality and empowers you. When you throttle that off by spreading yourself too thin or corrupting yourself, where you have to put yourself in knots because of what's required of you by your society or your family or your friends or your religion or whatever it is, the more you wrap yourself up in knots, the more you strangle that vitality. Causes premature aging, causes illness, causes sickness, causes death, causes things to fall apart because you don't have the energy to maintain the reality you're constantly creating by being here. So, you need to amplify who you are. You need to clear that path between you and Source. But the beginning is, who are you? What's your energy? What does your energy feel like? And then clearing the way by asking, how do I make this more? Put that idea out and then open yourself up to hear the answer. You may not like the answer, but it will be different for every person, so I can't tell you exactly how you are to do that. But if you are open to receiving, if you are aligned, strong enough to align with Source, to align with that Creator, that which continues to gift you vitality to live and co-create, you'll get an answer. Listen to the answer and act on it, because as you open more and more to who you are, you'll have more of a presence here, and that will allow you to dispel the illusions that keep our perception limited. That's a start. Now, the next phase, try to keep this as simple as possible. When you distort yourself or you create a distortion field, which some of us have to do. I'm not saying it's bad, it's evil, it's sinful. I'm not saying that. Sometimes you have to create a distortion field around you to keep others safe or to function correctly within society, because you've entered into a space or an area or part of society where it is a distortion field, and you have to match that. Some of us, unfortunately, live or work within a heavy distortion field. We have family members who are really wound up in the reality as presented by their authority figures, which is different from what you'll be able to see when you open up and look around, and you'll begin to notice things that don't make any sense because they aren't real. They have been created for an effect. So, the more you project a distortion field around you for the sake of harmonizing with your environment or survival or whatever reason you have to do it, whenever you do that, it makes it harder to see. It clouds the lens and it distorts the perception. So when you want to find out the truth, when you're having trouble, you want to figure it out, you need to step away from that. You need to step out of this distortion field. Now, some of us, when we have to go to work, we can't be authentic to who we are. We're stepping into a distortion field. So when you have to do that, you have a persona that you put on, a small little piece of who you are, not the totality. Say you're a nurse, you're going into a hospital. You know that the hospital is not in integrity, but that's your job, and it's been your job for a long time. So when you put on your work uniform, your scrubs, your hospital whites, your stethoscope, assuming you carry one, your clipboard, when you put that on, when you take that up, you become this piece of yourself, this mask, this because you're not representing yourself, you're representing the people that you work for. A different persona. You put that on, and then when the workday's done, you take it off. You leave it at work. You don't take it home. You don't take it with you. It's something you put on, you take off. When you take it off, you're authentic. When you put it on, you're working within the system that you are working for. It's a trade. They gift you money, you gift them your time and your energy. Eventually, it would be better if we didn't have to make those kind of compromises, but we don't live in that kind of world yet. So you put on the persona, you do what you have to do, and you leave work, you take it off. You're your authentic self. And don't try to process what is truth, when you're at your place of work unless you have a free space to step out of that persona, because the persona will distort your discernment, what you understand, what you see, what you experience. You won't be able to see the truth as long as you're holding the space of that persona. Understand that, because a lot of people get lost in that. I feel very sorry for teachers. They keep teachers so busy that they take their work home with them. They're constantly working. They never have an opportunity to step outside of the system that has been set up around them, which is a full distortion field, to see what the truth is. And they're the ones who are supposed to be in the most integrity. They're supposed to be able to pass along how to do this. What you are learning how to do, they're supposed to be able to teach that. How can they when they live within one of the strongest distortion fields there is, that of training the mind? Now, how do you know that this is working? You test yourself. You choose a situation where you're not sure what the truth is. And you step out of the distortion field, connect with source, and present, is it this? And feel what energy you get back. Is it that? And feel what energy that you get back. And the one that aligns with you and source, that's the truth. That's the truth. And if you want to test this, pick a situation where you're not sure what the truth is, something small. She's telling the truth about this, which is, did she spill the chocolate milk, or did my other kids spill the chocolate milk? Use this technique. And then later on, do it with a number of different situations. Write it down. Write it down, your experiment. And then as days, weeks, or months pass, go back and look and see if you were accurate. When you find out the truth, when you're able to find out the truth, and truth tends to come out over time, then you'll know. Then you'll know if the feelings that you have, the sense, that sense of the energy of the truth. There is an energy to the truth. It tends to strengthen your connection to source, thus strengthening you. Even if the truth is terrible, it's better to know the truth will make you stronger. So test it. Use this technique in small things, small distortions, small potential lies, and see if you're able to judge the energy of a lie versus a truth. And if you have trouble with it, then work on finding who you are. Some of us get tripped up because we have grown up with distortions within ourselves as a result of making the best of very bad situations. And we'll talk about that next time. Welcome to the woods.